Welcome to the Love, Health, Wealth, and Time to Enjoy Them podcast. I'm Patti Matthew. I'm your host, and I am here with Cheryl Toste.
Yes, hello.
How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me today.
Good, my pleasure. Glad to spend the next half hour, 45 minutes with you.
Love
and
it.
So, Cheryl, I don't know if you're aware of this, and I know you're a numbers girl, but your business is up considerably. It is up, I think, 30% over last year.
Oh, wow.
It's your second year in real estate.
Wow.
It's like you went
Amazing.
from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds in your second year.
I
Congratulations.
did. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm blown away. So tell me how the journey went, and from that first year to the second year, and what clicked for you? What happened?
Well, I put effort into my business. I
Okay.
think that's probably the first thing. The first year, things were a little slow. As a stay-at-home mom, I was transitioning back into the workforce and trying to figure out how that balance looked. Still really involved in the school with the kids and, trying to do all the things with them as well.
Most important job we have.
Oh, yes,
Yep.
yes. The little tiny humans come first always.
Always.
And so as some life changes happened and I became a single mom, it became more important for me to really put the effort into my career.
Okay.
And so that's what I've been doing in this second year, and it's been really, really fun.
Yeah.
I've loved every bit of the journey.
Yeah, it's important for you to have connection. You love people.
I
You
do.
very much. If I'm guessing, you're not an introvert, right?
Not really.
No,
I kind
that
of like to
serves you
talk to
well.
people. I say, I could probably have a conversation with that wall for a half hour as
Yeah.
well right now.
It's serving you well.
It is. It is. I think that's the thing. At the end of the day, when people are doing business, especially in real estate, it's, for most people, for me, it's the most expensive thing you're ever going to buy in your life.
Yep.
So when you're working with someone, you want someone that you can trust, someone that's going to help you through the process. And, everybody needs shelter. And so, working with a realtor is part of life. And I think people work with people that, they want to do business with you when you're authentic and you show up. And, that's really kind of what I've tried to do as well.
You're doing a good job at it.
Thank you.
And it's the people we met and the people who we can impact.
Yes.
The people who trust us.
Correct.
With generational wealth and so many other things that we do. It's so much more than just selling real estate.
Absolutely.
You're changing people's lives. So take me back a little bit, right? So you were a stay-at-home mom, got back into business. Now you're doing real estate. What did you do before real estate? Tell me about that journey.
So I actually moved to Las Vegas 23 years ago. When I say, I'm going to tell you my age right now because that's half my life. I've lived half my life here. So really exciting. I was born and raised in Orlando, Florida.
Okay.
And so I always say I went from one tourist destination to another, which is great for the tax benefits.
Yes.
Love that. But I started my career as a sales and marketing analyst. And the cool thing about that is it helped me to understand numbers. I was kind of an Excel geek. Some of my friends make fun of me with how I view numbers sometimes, but it serves me really well in my career now in real estate because I get the numbers. And
So good.
yes, it makes a big difference when you can,
There's so many people who don't know their numbers. So knowing that, and it is a business, right?
It
Everything is numbers. What is it? We just heard this when we were at convention. The path is in the math, and everything we do, from time to money, Excel sheets, everything. You have to know the score.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So I started shortly after I moved to Las Vegas. I started a sales career as a accounting and finance staffing person. So I helped work with businesses when they were looking to do their staffing plans. So I would sit down with CEOs, CFOs, accounting managers, and help them when they were looking at staffing their departments and evaluating who they needed to hire, what the salary ranges were, all of that. It was an outside sales position, and I loved it. That was my first entry into the sales world, and I had a lot of fun doing that. And as part of that, I bought my first home in my mid-20s.
Here in Vegas?
Here in Las Vegas.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, mid to late 20s, bought my first home, and I think that's what started the real estate bug.
You have that home today?
I don't.
Okay.
Nope, it's gone. Don't have that one, but and after that, I was able to buy a couple of investment properties. So I've done investing in real estate,
Yes.
Had a vacation home as well. I've done a 1031 exchange. So, kind of dabbled a little bit I still have my primary residence as well. So,
Okay.
I loved real estate so much before I even got into becoming an
Sounds
agent.
like it.
Yes.
So all roads just naturally led here, and especially
did.
in the sales. I mean, what did you learn about sales that you didn't know?
I think that's when I really started to understand the connection. The top salespeople always have a connection with people. And, when you show up as yourself and don't try to be somebody that you're not,
Yeah.
it's nice to emulate other people when they've done certain things. But at the end of the day, you're you. And people are going to see through it if you're not acting your authentic self.
Yeah. There's no magic script. I often get that. What do I say to people? Say hello. How's your day?
Yes.
Start with forward, right? Family,
Exactly.
occupation, recreation, James. Be your authentic self. Doesn't have to be in that order, but really be, to be interesting, you have to be interested.
Exactly.
Ask questions. It's more about the other person. It's I tell people, getting into sales, learn how to ask great questions.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And
I think people also, I actually want to know the answer to the questions. People can see through if you're just going through the script like, oh, I need to ask about their family. I need to ask about this. As you and I have talked about a little bit, I need to get a little bit better about my back end, working on my operations piece of this business. I love the people part, right? That's where I am. And I don't take a lot of notes because I actually remember, because I want to know about people. I want to know how their families are. And I remember that, oh, your son just had surgery or this, because I care.
Right.
And I think that's the thing that I realized, in a sales position on why I loved it so much is that, I get to interact with people and, truly just develop all these different relationships.
So do you have a knack for remembering the children's name and the dog's
I
name and the breed?
I do.
That's a powerful stuff. That's the stuff that matters.
Yes.
I have a knack for remembering people's eye color and their name.
Ooh.
I don't forget a face. I don't know what it is. It's and I have the memory of an elephant. And
Wow, that's
same
amazing.
thing too. It serves me very well if you're really listening and pay attention. It's not difficult.
Yes.
It's when your mind's racing and doing something else.
Yes.
So you have the natural ability to connect with people, to want to connect with people. Now the back end system, tell me a little bit about that. About why that's not, you like the people side, but what's the solution going forward for that?
Well, it is funny a little bit because, as I said, I started my career as a sales and marketing analyst, right?
Yeah.
So
Right, that's why I wanna know.
it's a little funny. I love the numbers, right? So I do like doing that, and I can build a great Excel spreadsheet for you. But I enjoy people more, and so it's hard because in this business, I'd rather just be out and talking to people all day long, and then
That's how you make money, and that's how you help people.
it is.
Yeah.
It's how you help people. But it is also important that in developing a system, as much as I like to say I have a great memory, the truth of the matter is that there's so much going on, and the tiny humans could distract me from something, and I could forget to follow up, in a manner in the timeline that I have, promised somebody. And so I think that the systems are really important because they help you to stick to your word, and that's something that I'm really concentrate on. It's what I think it's very important. If you say you're going to do something, that you do it.
I find we're in this business, as my circle of people get bigger and bigger, it's harder to remember, and that's I have to rely on the system. As messy as it is,
Yes.
it's not beautiful. Don't anybody tell you that the system behind the person is clean. It's messy for all of us.
Yes.
And the money is in the connection with people. Now tell me, you have tiny humans. You have
I
a boy and a girl.
I do. My daughter is 12. She's in 6th grade. So we started that middle school thing in this school year, which was an exciting transition. And then I have a 10-year-old son. So
what about the middle school? Because I remember middle school, and my son went a lot more accountability and responsibility. What are you finding with your daughter with that?
there is a lot more responsibility and accountability, and I think she wanted to jump right in at the beginning, and I kind of let her go, and then we started to see a little bit of stumbles. So I've been a little bit more involved, I think, but just again, it's helping her set up her systems. So when you have the routine every day, let's check every single subject. Do you have everything turned in? She was really good about doing the work, but then she would forget to upload it. I think she has a little of me in her, let's be honest.
Well, is that one of the things where they say, oh, I remember my kids when they were in schools, oh, it's been done, they just haven't updated it yet on the school side of things.
Oh, yes.
That was a commonality. And
oh, yes.
a little concerning, but okay. So she's learning how to be more independent. Right?
She is.
Really
she definitely is. And also for following directions, which is funny because you would think like you kind of learned that in kindergarten, right? But you know, if you don't turn something in the format it has been requested, then you get a 0.
You know, it's funny. My son, during my younger son, he's a little bit more of the rebel. He in middle school just decided one semester, F it, I'm just not going to do anything.
Oh, wow.
And he kept telling me he was updated, and the semester went on, and that was the first semester. The second semester, I said, you better muscle up. You can't that's a consequence. You want to, go on family vacation and spend your time in summer school. So he took it to the extreme. I just decided I'm not going to do it. And he course corrected. However, that's what middle school was about for me, little things like that. So the kids, it takes an interesting turn.
It does. Yeah. It definitely does.
So you're a super mom, you're running your business at a high level, you're about to turn it up another gear. How are you keeping it all together? What is supporting your family? What does your support system look like?
Well, I'm really lucky. My sister and my mom live in town. So I know it's so amazing. I'm really, really blessed. My mom helps me so much with doing everything. So she's available to pick up the kids if, for some reason I can't. I actually really try. And I think that's the beauty of real estate is that, yes, it's a business and you have to treat it as such or you're not going to be successful.
Yes.
However, you have flexibility. And so I love the fact that I can show up for my kids. I most of the time can pick them up from school. Mom's there to help in case I can't. But it's nice for them to see me. Sometimes, they get mad. They're like, oh, Mom, you have to go work. But getting them involved, having them help me get a house ready. Or, I was out measuring the other day. I know I'm old school. I like to use the tape still.
Okay,
I know. My daughter's like showing me on the app, like, okay, let's see if that, this is right. Like she wanted to measure with her phone. But just getting them involved, right? I got her involved. And I think it's important. I think it's important for them to see that, you can work hard and also still be there for your family. I mean, like that's the super cool thing about this career.
And support, that community connection, community is really important to you now.
It is.
Tell me a little bit about, you're very involved in giving back. You help with the rescue mission, you help with rescue, and you have a boxer that you rescued, is that right?
I do. Oh my gosh, do you know anything about boxers?
I know they jump really high and they're very gassy.
Oh, yes, they are.
That's about all I know.
They are. They're the biggest loves. They call them the clown of the dog family.
Okay.
That's what they're known for. So I had my first boxer, and she was the purebred that I picked out, and she lived till she was 13. And about the time that she was like 9, 10-ish, we knew she was getting older. And I was like, kind of thinking, I don't know if I can go through the puppy stage again because they're like little dinosaurs. Like they will eat everything in sight. And we're an active family. I mean, I love hiking and, we go to the park all the time and walks and all the things, but they still have a lot of energy. So it was funny. I was scrolling through Facebook one day and I had liked the Great Dane rescue. A friend of mine had Great Danes and I was like, I think they're a little too big for what I'm looking for. And there's this little face. And her little face was in the crate, and I was like, oh, I have to have that baby. So she was 2 when we rescued her, and I actually rescued her from the Great Dane rescue. He had been kind enough to take in because she was a large dog.
So 2's a good age.
2 is a great age. So she was already potty trained. She was still a little bit of a dinosaur, lots of energy. But now she's getting ready to turn 9. So we've had her for almost 7 years now, which is crazy. And I can't imagine life without her. So I think, again, I've done the thing where I've gone and picked out and, the puppy and, puppy. Exactly. Right, And all the animals need love, right? However, there are so many ways that you can help support rescues, not just by bringing them home with you, but I have a girlfriend of mine. And this winter, she was like, okay, everybody clean out their towels, clean out their blankets. And she wanted to take everything over to the pet rescue.
Awesome.
Just doing things like that.
Having an awareness. Yeah, one of the things we've partnered, and I have my little Rosie from Positive Difference.
Oh, yes.
Organization, and that's amazing.
This is what I say. They tried to shave my head. Debbie dragged me to that fundraiser. Do you remember that?
A couple of weeks ago.
Oh, yes. Yes, but
it
was wonderful. I mean, what they're doing in the community is amazing.
Now, where does that love come from for the animals? Is that something you've always have been affiliated with? Was it later in life, or
it was later in life. I didn't grow up with a dog. We had a cat, but I'm allergic. So then after the cat passed when I was a kid, like there was, I think there were some birds and hamsters, those kinds of things. But when my Riley, she was my first boxer. So when I was in my 20s and I had my first house is when I got her. And so to me, I kind of just started that. And I don't know. I feel like I live by the motto that to he who much is given, much is expected. And I've been really blessed in my life. Like, yes, I work hard. I'm not going to discount that. But I also feel like because of the blessings that I've had, I want to be able to give back. And, I love pets. I love the fact that they give us so much joy. And, it's nice to be able to support them in anything that I can.
Your tiny humans get involved?
The tiny humans, I try to get them involved as well. It's a fine line, though, because I remember at one point I had given my daughter a gift, and she was like, oh, do I get to keep it, or do I have to give it to people who don't have things? And so it's like, okay. Like, I love that, I was teaching them that in the spirit of it. But now, they understand a little bit more now. And so I definitely want to get them more involved and, doing stuff with the Las Vegas Rescue Mission.
Yeah, so tell me about that. How'd you get involved with that?
I have some friends that have addiction situations happening. And I think that, everybody has a story. Mm-hmm. And, obviously, there are those that don't want help. But there are so many that just are stuck and they don't know how to get out of the situation that they're in. And I think doing this as a career, I know how important shelter is. Mm-hmm. And so, when you see somebody who's on the street or something like that, I mean, just to be able to give back and to assist them in their recovery, their journey, I think that's something that's kind of dear to my heart.
So you've been able to make an impact in that space?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Anything else we need to know that we don't know? A sense of community and giving back?
I have a dear friend of mine. She runs the Once Upon a Room here at Summerlin Hospital.
Right.
Yes. And so that is where you go in and decorate hospital rooms for children that maybe are in the hospital for cancer or are going to be in there for quite some time for different ailments and things of that nature. And she does the one at Summerlin Hospital. So that's a really neat opportunity where you can donate a specific room and go in and decorate with sheets and blankets and stuffies and all the things.
We should talk more because that's very high-minded. We have an annual Red Day where second Thursday in May, all the Keller Williams in the world shut down and get back in their local community. And I'd love to talk to you more about that.
Oh, I would love that.
Get involved because we did something similar. I forget the name of the charity. But we were able to help children who had childhood cancer. We were able to go to their home.
Oh, wow.
And redecorate their room.
Oh, that's amazing.
And then we took it a step further, and we were able to help the parents with some of the things that we saw. Would they mind if we cleaned this up or we filled their pantry? So, yeah, let's talk a little bit more because that's something that we can definitely make an impact and help.
Yes, that would be wonderful. And I know she would appreciate that as well. There's also different Once Upon a Rooms for all the hospitals in town.
Great.
So Sunrise has it, yes.
So we could talk a little bit more about having an impact on more than one hospital.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Great. And so tell me about health and fitness. I mean, I know you've taken on multiple fitness challenges. It's something you're really passionate about.
I am.
So talk to me about that.
It's
tell me about
funny.
Your journey.
Well, it's kind of funny. I remember when I was in college in a sorority, one of my best friends and we had to put together like a little thing about ourselves, right? And so she said, I like to crunch Cheetos. And I was like, and I like to do crunches. I've just always been into fitness, right? It's something that I think is fun. But really over the last, I'd say probably 5-6 years is where I've really gotten into it. And so I've realized too, with goal setting, when you set a goal, having a goal and really working toward achieving that goal is important. Mm-hmm. And really understanding what your why is behind it. Sometimes it hurts. Like right now I'm a little bit sore. My body hurts. Okay. I like to work out every day.
Well, what type of workout are you doing? What do you do? CrossFit, hiking? What's your passion? What's your go-to at the moment?
I really love the boutique gyms. I've worked out with F45. which is like 45-minute classes.
Right.
So kind of the high intensity training. There are the HIIT days, so you have nice cardio days, and then there's also weightlifting days. And
was today a weightlifting day?
Today was a weightlifting day, but now I also go to burn boot camp, which is, yes, that's very intense as well.
Okay, so you're in multiple places.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I know. I love to spread the love.
That's good. That's great.
Yes.
What's it done for you, having that commitment to fitness? How does that fill your cup up?
There's a couple of things with this. I know we talk a little bit about like winning the day. For me, it's important. I do it at the beginning of every day.
Yep.
I know when we were talking about time management and things of that nature, it's like, okay, so if you don't do that, how is that going to make you feel? Well, it's not going to make me feel good, right? So fitness to me it's about achieving your goals. So having goals and,
What would be a goal? Give me an example of a goal you set yourself in fitness at any point that you recall.
Well, I did a challenge at F45. Okay. So when I was looking to build muscle mass, so they have the little machine that you can like check your muscle mass and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And I can't remember if it was 6 or 8 weeks, but it's about eating properly and just the whole holistic way of living, right? And so all the wellness all the way around. And I actually won the challenge, which was crazy. That was a couple of years ago. But it was super cool. Like my kids were so happy too. Like, oh, Mom, you won something. It does. It feels good. And I think that's the thing, right? When you are intentioned, when you're purposeful, when you set the goal and you daily do the activity to reach that goal, and then you have the reward. I mean, I think that was something that is really cool, and it translates into every aspect of your life, truthfully.
The motivation's on the other side. It's not the getting to, once you're able to get to, it's the motivation's on the other side when you're doing it.
Yes,
right? And
exactly.
The after, I call it the workout high.
Yes.
What advice would you give people who are struggling in that space?
I would say take it one day at a time. Okay. I think a lot of people, like, I have one of my trainers and like, wow, I would love, to be able to be as fit as her, right? And so I think sometimes it can be intimidating when you look at someone, or if you think about, what do they say? Like, how do you score a touchdown, right? It's like you have to go 10 yards at a time. It's kind of the same thing in the fitness goals, like make little tiny goals. Yeah. And then, before you know it, you're going to look back and be like, wow, look how far I've come.
Yeah, and if you have the patience to go through that process. So you've built in accountability is what I'm hearing. If you are signing up for fitness competitions or something at F45 or Burn Boot Camp.
Yes.
You're putting yourself in accountability.
Yes.
So you've met some interesting people?
I have. Okay. And I have developed dear friendships with people.
Awesome.
Another way to be in the community, right? Yeah. Getting to know people, their journeys. And it's interesting too, how everything interconnects, specifically here in Las Vegas, as you know, it's such a big, small city.
Yes.
In the Summerlin area, that's where I primarily have my little bubble.
Right, so in your 15, 20 mile radius there?
Yes.
Yeah, good. You don't have to go far and wide. I mean, that's how you meet people and you connect with people, and that's what's beautiful is you're living in the community.
Yes.
Right? So you're a member of the community, what happens there impacts you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I truly love this city. And I think, being involved helps you to fall in love with it more. I remember when I first moved out here, everyone's like, oh my goodness, you're moving to Las Vegas, because they think of it as the Strip. But truthfully, I mean, the community of people that are here, they're really incredible.
It's interesting. I moved out here in 91, 33, almost 34 years ago in May, and I moved out, and I'm from New York, so people had the same thought. Are you going to move and you're going to live in a house outside the Strip? And I didn't know. My parents moved out here and said it was boom.
Right.
So I moved out here, and I remember we pulled up to Nevada Palace, and I thought, what have I done? We're from, Westchester, New York. It's kind of a bedroom community, and I came out, and I looked around, and I was a little terrified.
Yes.
And my parents loved it, and then we wound up driving over to the lakes, and things got better. As a matter of fact, the building was not here. I used to rollerblade down the street to the Albertsons across the street. And my mother said something. I said, I don't know about this place. She said, you're going to find people wherever you are. Mm-hmm. You just have to go seek them out.
Yes.
It's very true.
It is true.
It's been a good city to raise a family. And there's a lot of opportunity here.
There is.
Yeah.
I love it.
Tell me a little bit about, you're into fitness, right? Right, the struggling, staying consistent, we give to people a little bit every day. Tell me about building wealth while staying purpose-driven. Because yes, you're high-minded, right? You, like you said, you've been blessed. This is more than just building a real estate business.
Correct.
So tell me a little bit about how you build the wealth in real estate and stay purpose-driven. What does that look like?
Well, I think it all comes down to the goal setting, right? Everybody has a different definition of wealth. So I know we've talked a little bit about like Brett Tanner's podcast, and listening to that, one of the things I really liked what he said was 10 times expenses is where you're hitting wealth. So for everybody, that's different. So that's a pretty lofty goal. But
don't think about it, it never happened, right?
That's true. Right. That's very true. So again, like my advice, like take it small, right? So what are the things that I'm doing today that can get me a little bit closer to that goal? And so for me, because I have invested in real estate, and if you look at the wealthiest families in the world, right, real estate is what has made a lot of money for people. And so again, let's go back to the numbers. I think when you buy properly, when you have the right team in place to help you through your investments, that's where you can really set yourself up to the path to success. So for some people, they might be looking for, investing for long-term rentals, or, there's a lot of different ways you can invest in real estate as well. Short-term flips, which I know was so fun back in the day.
Yes, everybody wanted one.
Everybody wanted one. The HGTV, fad of doing all the short-term flips. But there's still money to be made in that, You really just have to know your numbers, work with the right real estate agent.
Yep.
And
knowledgeable.
Yes, and then put together that plan. Yes.
What does that do for you in terms of you're building your wealth, right? There are many vehicles, many different asset classes to get you there. It's not your traditional, just take money, make it, invest it in the stock market, and hope it all works out 30 years, 40 years from now, right? You are definitely destined and learning based and finding all these different real estate levers to invest in. You're making, let's fast forward 10 years from now. You're killing it in real estate, your investments are solid. What does the world look like? What are you doing with the money you're making? How is it taking care of you, family, and the things you're passionate about?
Honestly, I think this goes back to like the goals that I set for this year. And
5 through 25?
Yes. We got to put that 25 in everything this year.
On a shirt or something.
I know. But one of the things that was really important to me when I was looking at this year was how much can I actually give back? Again, to he who much is given, much is expected. So I'm always in that mindset, always, because if I'm more successful, then that means that I can give back more. I think too, I've been teaching my children, one of the things that's great, and I wish I had known this earlier, is that time is really on your side. So for people who have children, people in their 20s, time is on your side. Even $500 a month over time with that compounding interest, it can be your worst enemy when it comes to credit card debt and things of that nature. But it's your best friend on the other side when you're investing. And over time, real estate over time appreciates. That's historically what happens. You're going to have some ups and downs in the road, but historically it appreciates. And I'm sure if you could go back in the 90s and buy a few houses.
I would still have my first townhouse.
Yes.
And another property I bought, coulda, shoulda, woulda, right?
Yes.
And it's that hindsight being 2020. It's what's the piece of advice, what's the cost of today's decision in the future? Yes. Right? What's the future cost of today's decision? And it couldn't bring any truer to what you're saying.
Yes, absolutely. And I think, investing in real estate can be intimidating. I understand. I mean, it's a really big purchase. I know we've talked about this a lot too. Like, for most people, it's the biggest purchase you're ever going to make in your life. And even on an investment, perspective, like, I think it comes down to what individually are you looking for. Some people are looking to have that residual income coming in every month. Other people are like super focused on what it can do for their taxes. There's a lot of different ways that owning real estate can benefit you depending on what your needs are. And so I think, you can get super creative with it and do some fun things. Hard money lending, something I love to do.
Buy private notes.
Oh, yes. Yes. So there's a lot of opportunity.
More than just purchasing the home.
More than just purchasing the home.
In real estate that can be a vehicle.
Absolutely.
Sometimes not everybody wants to own a bunch of homes because it's really not passive income.
Right.
You're always in it somehow.
Right.
There are ways to minimize, how much time you're spending in through property management. You have to treat each home that you buy like a little business.
That is correct.
And so there are other ways where it can be more passive and just as lucrative.
Right. And you don't have to take every deal that comes across your plate either. There's actually a couple of opportunities that I'm considering right now. And really, when you set up your goals and you know what you're looking for, you just stay inside that box, right? So if there's something that comes across your desk that doesn't fit into what you're looking for, it's okay to say no to that.
Yeah.
There's going to be other opportunities.
And if you have a good agent like yourself in your corner who is looking out for your best interest,
right?
Trust the process, trust that they are going to help you get what you want.
Yes.
Right? If it's not this deal, there'll be another deal. A good fiduciary will make sure a person's needs are met before they're out, and the money will come later.
The money will come.
Yeah.
And I think that's, again, going back to really getting to know and connect with people. We talk about this. Go deep, not wide, right?
Yeah, go deep. Don't swim the surface.
Yes. If I know what motivates somebody, if I know what their goals are, and we really get down to what it is that this means to them, then it allows me to really help them and to guide them and to reassure them when things don't work out. Because every real estate, for all the homes that I've bought personally, investment properties, been on the buyer or seller agent side, every transaction is different.
That's a fun part.
Some are so easy and some are like, what just happened? And you're like sweating at the end of it. But I think, again, really getting to know what people need in their lives at the time and to help them, as they're building their wealth journey as well.
Yeah,
so
get what they want.
Yes.
All right, 2 final questions.
Okay.
If you had 10 extra hours a week, what would you do with them?
Is it funny to say probably sleep? No, I'm just kidding.
No, there's no wrong answer. And that's why I'm so fascinated.
Oh my goodness.
Sounds like you need it.
Well, I mean, there are times that, I do get good night's rest, but a lot of times I find myself, because we talked about this. There's only so many summers that you get with the tiny humans, and mine are growing so quickly. And so I try to spend as much time as possible with them. So I do a lot of the back end work at night, but realistically, probably sleep and then give back to a different charity.
Yeah, and you also you're putting a pool in, so that's
I am putting a pool in. Yes. Oh yes, I can't wait for this summer specifically.
Yeah, when is it going to be done?
Hopefully in June.
Okay.
It's
perfect timing.
It's one of those things where, again, I like to empathize with my clients. It's like you get construction fatigue very quickly when you're living in this.
Well, it's interesting because they come and do work, and then it's quiet for a little bit, and then they come and do work. Yeah.
And during the quiet times, you're like, what's happening?
It could probably really be done in a week's work.
Oh yes, it's true.
Full, but everything has a cycle.
Oh, it does.
Okay, and then if people want to connect with you and follow you on your journey, and even more importantly, support your causes.
Yes.
How do they find you?
So Cheryl's Key to Real Estate. It's Cheryl with a C. Cheryl'sKeyToRealEstate.com. It's also, I'm on all the socials. You can find me through my website with all the socials, or find me on all the socials at Cheryl'sKeyToRealEstate.com.
Cheryl Toste, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You are a 747 continuing to soar. Thank you for being part of your journey.
Well, thanks for having me. It was fun talking to you today. Thank you.